Behold Skegness, the seaside holiday destination of choice for the great British public, home of fabulous beaches, superb food and wonderful entertainment. So if you wanted to visit this fine pillar of British holiday institution, how would you do it? Obviously, you would drive. But what if you don't want to put mileage on your daily driver all the way from East Anglia? Is there a better way? We set ourselves a budget of £500 plus fuel and set off to meet at our usual point.
Presenting my Volvo, and this is not my hire car, this is mine. And this fine, slightly pink automobile set me back £300, which I'm quite chuffed about for a car with an MOT that works, or at least most of it works. It has got some interesting features. Quite notably, when I turn the ignition on, the lights come on. I don't think that's a Volvo thing. It does also have a teeny tiny, insignificant overheating problem. And that's mostly linked to a coolant leak on the heater. And I believe that if I don't use the heater, it keeps coolant inside it. But the coolant gauge, temperature gauge, is intermittent at best. And it has two features. It either has totally off and it doesn't work, or it has through the top of red. There is no intermediate on this. So it's not perfect, but it does run and drive. This side as well is pretty good. There is a slight dent in the side, which unfortunately has happened in my ownership because somebody drove into it outside my house and kindly didn't leave a note. But presumably they came to this side and realised that there wasn't really any point in leaving a note, because this side has seen some, well, action. It has rust coming through here. It has a dent there where somebody's clearly opened a door into it. At this point, somebody's just put a boot into it repeatedly, and there's rust coming through here and here. And then finally, this arch here is crusty at best. And we've lost part of the plastic seal cover. Apart from that, it's fine. And actually, all things considered, this is one of the most comfortable cars I've ever driven, and certainly the most comfortable I've ever owned. It's like being inside a sofa. Admittedly, on a day like this, a very chilly sofa, but it's a sofa nonetheless.
At that point, my colleague turned up in his hired vehicle, and for just over £300, he too was driving a Volvo.
This is my Volvo that I've ended up with for this journey, and it's got no dents in it. So that's lovely. And it's got a heater that works. It's got heated seats, 3 settings, heated steering wheel, 3 settings. It's got a great sound system. I've been really trying that out. It's been great. It drives itself. It's got adaptive cruise control. It will stop itself. It's got 4-wheel drive. It's got the D4 engine, so it's a 2-litre diesel with 190 horsepower or so. So it's not the slowest thing in the world, about 0 to 60 in about 8 seconds or so. And it's really quite nice.
We're going to be answering that age-old question of, if you want to go away for the weekend, is it better to go and buy an older car, or is it better to hire a brand new one? And if you do either of these options, what gives you the best experience and the best trip away?
Of course, my colleagues, somewhat predictably, had already made up their mind.
Well, it's quite obvious, really, isn't it? I mean,
the very nice hire car, or this.
Although it did turn out that Matt was a big fan of the 440.
It's not rear-wheel drive, it doesn't have a 5-cylinder. It's basically the Volvo, which is the least...
Matt waffled on about the 440's shortcomings for some time, and then we hit the road to see what the cars were like.
And now we're on the road, I can fill you in a little bit more on the idea behind this challenge. Both myself and Morgan have been awarded £500 of our own money to be able to go on holiday to the wonderful seaside destination of Skegness. Now, £500 to buy a car and get it on the road, in my head seemed like an awful lot of money. And it meant that Morgan was able to browse through basically anything he wanted in the hire car market. At £300 for this car, that was a sizable part of my initial budget gone. And when we consider adding on the tax, so a year's worth of tax on this is £280. So working it out for a month brings it to £23.33. And then I added it onto my insurance policy, which was an additional £160. Which means for my holiday, I've got less than 20 quid left. Which isn't ideal, but it is under budget. So a little bit about the new member of my fleet. First of all, everything I own has a name, and this one came with a name. It's called Julie. So meet Julie the Volvo.
Such an inappropriate name, but I can't even figure out why. I just dislike it inherently.
I just feel it's a wrong thing to do, to rename it to something else. Like, it's got a name.
Like it'd be bad luck.
Yeah, it's like you don't rename a boat, and I don't think it's right to rename a car.
I suppose it would be the last thing to do to give your cars bad luck.
Well,
it would be a very bad
also,
idea.
hanging on the keyring, it's got its own little tag.
You nearly just tried to take the keys out of the ignition then to show the camera, didn't you?
I did.
Oh, it's died on me!
It almost happened.
First thing you need to do is get a working heater core.
Yes.
Because it is currently early February and it is very, very cold in this car.
It is also very, very soft.
Yeah.
As we go over these rather interesting roads around here, it actually...
It rides incredibly well. Like, it's surprisingly comfortable.
It's so
considering
comfortable.
It's 30 years old.
Yeah.
This year.
Yeah, it is. And it rides... It doesn't handle particularly well, because as soon as we come into a corner, it just
turns. It just
goes,
tilts.
Whee!
It sails through corners as opposed to anything else.
It's great, and I really enjoy it. It's not a performance car, and it's a car that our colleague following behind us will never understand.
No, that said, like, I am genuinely quite happy with the interior. It feels like really nice. I mean, if you cleaned it, it would be better.
This is as bought.
As bought, right? And
it needs a clean.
And not as treated by Lawrie, because the two things are pretty much the same normally.
Yeah, okay, it does need a clean, to be fair. It's the thing I'm most upset about is the fact that it got more damage being parked outside my house in preparation to do this.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't make much difference because it already was bought with a caved-in door, but now it's got one each side.
It's balanced now.
Yeah, it's fixed the aerodynamics.
Yeah. And it's now rusting on both sides as well.
Rusting on both sides, yes.
So it's more weight saving for it.
Yeah, it's getting lighter.
Yeah.
I also realised I like my dash. I like the squareness of it. I like the fact I've got buttons down the side.
Yeah.
This is
buttons which can be pressed in gloves.
Oh yeah, they're proper chunky buttons. It is an interesting spec. It's proper Povo spec. I have wind down windows.
Yeah. But we have heated seats.
Have heated seats, exactly. But we don't have the other options. There's a lot of blanked off buttons in here.
And some strangely blanked off buttons, which No, it actually says Volvo on the back. I was about to say, there's like someone's made this plate, but that actually says Volvo on it there.
That's something to do with the radio. Now, the radio is one of the high points of this car in the fact that
it doesn't work.
It doesn't work,
as
particularly as the aerial is damaged, so it could be that, or it might not be plumbed in. It has some kind of hands-free thing that's plumbed into it, which I cannot make work. So I'm sure that gubbins down there is all to do with that. And if you have your headlights on, you can turn the ignition off and the radio stays on.
Yeah, that's not wired incorrectly.
No, and constantly the headlights will be on the car currently, despite them being set to off. Other high points of the fact that it's a Povo spec is I have a clock.
Yep, a clock instead of a rev gauge.
Yeah, because who wants a rev gauge? Nobody wants a tacho to count your revs. No, I just want to know what time it is. It's daft, and it is a little infused. Oh, the other thing it does have is it has a bulb that illuminates to let you know that you've got a light out, which this car does every single time I turn it on. It comes on and lets me know there's a bulb out.
Well, it's not on at the moment. You don't have a bulb out at the minute,
No.
as far as it's concerned.
No, but I do pretty often when I start. I don't know if that's a Volvo thing, that it just stays on for a test for longer. I have no idea.
I'm convinced there's water ingress somewhere behind the dash.
Yes.
Because it does occasionally get very, very damp on the windscreen as well.
Yes, it does. And occasionally I found it will struggle to clear itself.
So
now we've been all over all the good points of the car. What would you say are the negatives of this vehicle?
the biggest negative I can think is I've now got another project, because the idea behind this was to buy it and then get rid of it.
You're not going to get rid of it, are you?
I really like it. It's just nice and comfortable. It's a nice thing to drive. So the problem is that it's got an awful lot of rot in it.
Yes, and there's no like seriously structural rot though. It's all body panels, which
Looks so far anyway. We haven't had a look underneath this yet.
True. To me, like body panel rot is a lot worse for looks, because it looks really tatty. But it's actually a lot safer than when you just have, there's no floor under here. This is quite soft.
This is true. It seems to be structural. It's been poked. It has an MOT. The history is okay. And it might be one of those things that if we start attacking it soon and get it into the shed and clear out the rot and paint it up, we might stop it getting any worse.
And then we just need to push out all the dents.
Yeah, when it's all, to be fair, it's all stuff we want to learn, so it's a good project to learn on.
Yeah.
The other thing I do like about this is these used to be everywhere.
Yeah, they were a very common car. Like pretty much all Volvos of this era, like 740s and stuff as well. But they're just kind of all gone. Especially things like 440s, which it's not really that Volvo-y, because it's not iconic Volvo. It's not rear-wheel drive, but it doesn't have a 5-cylinder.
No.
So it fits into this weird gap of like, it's not any of the desirable old Volvos, and so it kind of just gets thrown to the wayside.
Yeah, and it's a shame, because it's a perfectly decent car. It's obviously not the cream of the crop of the Volvo. Like, if I had my choice, I would have, for a different Volvo, I'd have the 480.
Yeah.
Because pop-ups.
Same kind of area as well. See, I'd much rather have a 240.
Oh, they are very pretty.
Or maybe an 850.
So it's never been a Volvo I particularly wanted. But it's
the Volvo you could afford.
Yes, that is it. Also, it's strange, and it's such a unbalanced shape, isn't it? It's when you look at it inside profile, this car is strange.
I don't know. To me, it kind of just looks fairly typical 3-box. Box.
Yeah, it is, but do you not think that the rear box is too small? Like they forgot to put a bit of the rear box on?
Yeah,
it just looks unbalanced.
It does seem a bit shorter, but you have to remember that the 440 was kind of like the more mid-sized car. Like the 740 had the big old wing behind it. But I don't know. It's kind of a weird car as well, because when you're outside it, it looks fairly small, but inside it's one of those like very spacious cars. It's
quite nice, and all things considered, for my money, it has flaws. It's definitely got flaws. The dash is cracking in 2 places either side. The heat doesn't work without potentially crippling the engine. The heater gauge doesn't work. Yeah. But the upholstery in here, despite the fact it's fairly dirty, it's actually
none of it's ripped. It's comfortable.
It's very comfortable. It's all basically complete. It's in good condition. I actually think for my money,
you've not done too bad.
I've done really well with this.
You could have done a lot worse.
Oh, certainly, and I have previously done a lot worse.
Yeah.
But this is a functional car
for 300 quid, and we don't actually think it's overheating. Like, we're 99% sure it's not overheating, despite what the gauge intermittently says.
On the way home of purchasing it, it seemed to overheat, and I walked around it, felt all the hoses, and nothing felt hot.
Yeah.
And
then you went into a restaurant for like an hour, didn't you?
Yes.
You came out and it still thought it was overheating.
It immediately just went from, it is stone cold. So I'm pretty sure there's just a fault with the sensor.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. And we have had it in the shed and let it run up despite the gauge screaming and the red light that comes on flashing.
Yeah.
And then when it hits 94 degrees or something, the thermostat opens and the fan kicks on.
Yeah.
Or I think the thermostat opened at 34 and then the fan comes in at 100 or something.
Yeah.
And right on cue, queuing to the laser gun thing we've got, it's fine.
Working fine, yeah.
So
the only concern I do have is that when it eventually does overheat, which it will do, you will not know, because you'll be like, oh, it's just playing up. Bang.
Yes, precisely. So it is high on the list of things that need to be sorted. Currently, I don't think it's an issue that I need to care about too much.
In the middle of winter, no, we're probably okay. I just want to start off by saying it's a much nicer experience here with the fact I actually have a cup holder for my coffee.
I imagine there's a lot quieter in here as well.
Yes.
I imagine the NVH levels have come quite some quite some way since, is it 30
I don't have
years,
to raise my voice yet.
Yeah.
And yet, 28 years difference between these cars.
Yeah, 28, yeah.
Volvo has come on a fair bit.
it's come so far, the car is literally driving itself right now. I've got the pilot assist, as it's called in this car.
So it's got lane assist and cruise control.
So as long as it can see white lines, we won't die. That's how it works.
Does it shout at you if you go over the white lines, though, like most modern cars? Does it make very angry noises?
No, it just turns away from them.
Oh, it wrestles the steering wheel from you?
Yeah, so look,
So you literally can't crash the car?
Well, I can't crash it, the car just crashes it. So they're braking in front, and now the car's just going to slowly come to a dignified stop, hopefully. Otherwise...
And it's an automatic, which I've not felt shift yet.
Exactly, it's the ZF 8-speed automatic, which is the first automatic I've ever driven that works like an automatic should.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's taken them a while to sort out automatic gearboxes, but this is the first one.
About 80 years, yeah.
Yeah, it's the first one that's been like, oh, that's how it's supposed to work. You know, it doesn't have that horrible slushy. You know, it's very natural.
Yeah. We went from 0 to 60 and I didn't even hear it change.
Yeah, exactly. You don't feel it changing gear at all. It's very nice.
So what you're basically telling me is that the car's driving itself, it's changing gears for itself, it's braking for itself, it's steering for itself.
Yeah.
You might as well have just got a taxi ride up here.
Yes. Well, it sort of is, isn't it, really?
I do actually kind of like the aesthetic inside that.
What?
There's something about which is very homely, yeah.
Are you mad? There's just plastic rubbish in there. It's awful. This is
seats are
lovely.
nicer in there as well.
This has got a lovely leather. This does have something that modern cars that I don't like, and that's the two-tone steering wheel. I don't understand it. To me, it looks ugly for one thing. Like, why would you have a two-tone? And also, you get this really weird ridge in the middle of the rim where you don't want it. But you're always feeling that, and it's like that's not right or normal.
It should be smooth.
Exactly, it should be smooth.
I like all these like weird wooden dark trim as well.
The trim's really nice in here.
Yeah. Have we got individual climate control?
Yeah, of course we do.
On a nice screen.
Yeah, although it's very distracting. I don't like that.
No, you see, this is the temperature in the Volvo.
Just low all the time.
But I can set it to a nice comfortable 21.
Yeah.
I don't need to be wearing a hoodie and gloves and a hat.
You don't have to be dressed for skiing.
Yeah.
Like you do in the other Volvo.
It's February, I look outside, it's nice and sunny. It could basically be the middle of June.
Yeah, exactly. That's how it should be.
That said, you do have to give it back at the end of the week.
Yeah, but I'm also not lumbered with that thing. Have you seen what that is? It's awful. It is a box on wheel. Welcome to Skegness.
Skegness is more of a disappointment than we thought it was going to be.
Yes.
We were expecting the stereotypical seaside town, which standards were low in the UK, but we got here and it's not even the sea. We're not on the seafront. We're on a man-made lakefront, beyond which you have a sandbank, beyond which you have a wind farm.
And as it turns out, Morgan wasn't content just to stand, breathe in the sea air and take in the view. So we went on and explore, taking in some of the information boards telling us about our surrounding and ending up on the pier.
He's not swimming, he's giving up on everything.
Belgium.
The good news is with this pier here, as we overlook this stunning view, is that there are plans afoot to extend this pier out there towards the stunning scenery.
It looks like they already tried to extend it and it fell over.
I like the fact the pipe is barely hot. Is that pipe still transporting anything? It looks so knackered. Oh, what a... We had expectations. we have not met our expectations. Why, as Matt pointed out as we walked up here, of all the places that you could extend your pier, why is it the place extended straight towards wind turbines? We wonder if it's going to be like a petting zoo. You can come out and stroke a wind turbine.
Got to extend it a long way for that.
Whilst on the pier, we decided to go and check out the good old British seaside attractions and enter into the world of the arcade. And once inside, I got a little bit carried away, and unbeknownst to Matt, I spent the majority of the remaining budget on the penny arcades. Morgan, on the other hand, had a far more successful time. and eventually, unimpressed with my frivolous spending, decided that we should go out and drive each other's cars. And as I'd run out of 2p's and thus couldn't play the machines anymore, I agreed this would be a good thing to do. What did you make squeak in my car?
Probably the tyres. They're just not holding the road anymore.
No, the tyres are garbage. Ooh, old Peugeot.
It's a proper old car, isn't it?
Like this.
Get into first, you stupid gearbox.
Yeah, the first is...
It's just awful.
Did the French do the gearbox, Morgan? Was that not a Volvo item?
Clearly. Oh no, now we're just going around in circles. This isn't good, I've chosen the wrong lane. Where should I be going? Let's go left here then.
We've kind of just got lost.
Or this or the Reliant.
Oh, this every time.
It's got 3 wheels.
So you prefer this?
Over the Reliant, 100%.
So on the grand hierarchy of all the cars Morgan would and wouldn't drive, this is not at the bottom.
No.
Oh God, no.
There we go, that's positive.
I'd rather drive this than an old Beetle.
A Trabant?
Oh, this is much better than a Trabant.
Positive stuff for the Volvo? Positive.
Better than a Trabant and a Reliant. This or a 4KA?
Oh, that is the question.
I would go for this over a 4KA any day, I think.
I'm with you on that. I genuinely like this. I think it's great. It's just pleasant
But
to be
in
in.
fact, it's comfier and the noise levels in here are actually quite good.
I like there's a calculation going on there, and it's just coming back with no.
Well, no, I'm slowly building up. I would have this over a 4KA.
I think it's taken that long.
Yeah, it's taken me that long to work it
Ladies
out.
and gentlemen, if this doesn't make it into the edit, this has been a good 5 minutes of thinking.
Oh, are we on? Are we?
Oh, yeah, it's been
We're rolling. Okay, yeah.
I think it's a nicer place
Because-
to be than a KA.
The thing is, though, this car, basically, the people who stop driving this car, their next car purchase.
But they were dead.
It's a mobility scooter.
Yeah.
No, not necessarily. But if this car broke down, they had to buy a new car, and it was newer times, they would have bought a Toyota Prius.
Yeah, probably 10 years old from this.
A box on wheels. This is what this car is.
Rover
It has
25.
almost no redeeming features. And after that, they're now in a Nissan Leaf. That's all they want. They don't want anything fancy. You know, they don't want any bells and whistles. They just want a car.
This is a good car.
It's very boring and very dull and has very uninspiring anything. But the seat and the ride is nice.
It is quite comfortable,
It is a
yeah.
comfortable car.
Even on
It's
like...
a bit of a bus of a steering wheel.
I quite like the big steering wheel though.
And the steering
it did
wheel
come off
is in
Volvo's coach line.
and it is in the wrong position.
So did the gearbox. The gearbox came off a coach actually as well, because that's really vague.
It is like shifting a salmon's tail.
Thinking about this though, like this is like cheaper than like a month's payment on like pretty much any normal car you can get nowadays.
Yeah, it is.
Like if you was to get a car on finance, this car is cheaper than like 1 month finance payments.
Putting this on the road and buying it and putting it on the road is 2 months of your finance package. And I own this.
Yeah.
Next up was my go in the modern Volvo.
I have many problems with it.
What's that?
I hate digital dashes. That's my first thing.
I thought you of all people would love a digital dash.
He's naughty all over a digi dash.
I love an 80s digital dash, whereas this is just, I don't like this. There's no real instruments on it. It's just a screen. I really dislike that on cars. I know it's all the rage now, but I dislike that.
Yeah, I know. I prefer clocks as well, to be fair.
Although
That's a point to the 440. A point.
A point. I go.
No, you got to keep like
press
two
it.
fingers on it.
Oh, that's so strange.
Yeah, just wait for this corner coming up. Don't do anything. It will do it. It might beep at you to grab a hold of it. The steering wheel a bit better, but yeah. It is a bit of a drunk driver.
It doesn't have the white
You see how it's
line's
getting
so
quite close to the mud here? It's going to pick it up now a little bit, avoid it, and then it's going to go like...
How are you finding it?
Do you know what? I absolutely hate this.
It's horrible, isn't it?
Yeah.
I hate this for multiple reasons. Number one, firstly, it takes a second to actually get hold of the wheel again. But I hate it because I fear the results of people
doing
You're
that
lying.
and not paying attention.
Yeah, they'll become lazy drivers,
Yes,
won't they?
and I personally don't think I'd ever, for that, and using it for just that little bit of, oh, that's exciting, seeing the technology, I find that exciting. But I find in the terms of people becoming lazy and doing things, I find it terrifying, because you know too many people who don't...
become reliant upon it.
Yeah, people who don't enjoy driving, who just want a box to go from A to B, will turn that on, and will turn and just be like, and then we'll have a terrible accident.
Yeah.
And that scares me. I think it's cool, but I don't like it as a feature, because I scare what it's going to do to people and driving in the future. That really terrifies me. You know, it's not a bad car. It just doesn't do anything for me. I think the thing is, all my cars, as much as you guys take the nick out of them, they're all special to me, and I enjoy driving them. I enjoy my relationship with them, and I feel they're something different. I like going out.
That's all that really matters, but I'll disagree.
But yeah, of course you will, because you like
everyone has different tastes.
But this thing to me, because it's new and it's...
Because it's new, that's a bit harsh. It's not its fault it's new.
But it's because it's not different. It's not something exciting. That's what...
Is it not? I think it looks great. I think it's a great looking car.
I don't think it's particularly good looking. I don't think it's particularly exciting. Because it looks like everything else.
I think it's much better looking than your piece of box that you've got.
Actually, no, I totally disagree. I think
yours
the
just
Volvo's
looks
far better than this.
I prefer the regular 90 series, not the cross country.
Yes,
because
me as well. Yeah, it's got much better lines.
Yeah, this is a little bit too high. The regular V90 is a gorgeous looking car, but this is just a little bit too.
Yeah, you can tell they didn't quite design it for this.
Yeah,
you can tell that the regular V90, because this is the cross country. But yeah, the V90 on its own is
actually, really pretty.
That's a good looking car, and this is just sort of like a bit higher up. It's a bit odd.
I just feel a bit detached from it all.
Yeah, but you can actually have a heater in this.
Which works.
I can have a heater in my Volvo, I just use up the engine coolant.
And then you just accelerate and you've got a bit of speed. It's not that slow.
It's not that much quicker than the 440 though, to be honest.
Are you joking?
It's not that much faster than the 440.
It's not that much faster than the 440.
Shut up. It's a huge difference.
It's not a huge difference.
It is. It's massively so. It's just that you can't feel it.
It's fine. It's not for me. I think that's what it is. It's a perfectly acceptable car. It's just not for me. Following the drive, Morgan decided that it was time for dinner. But the place he chose was a little bit too much for my penny arcade damaged wallet. So I had to go and look for other options. And eventually I found somewhere that was within my budget. Got dinner.
Is that yours?
Nope, this is ours.
What? We've got a share?
Yeah, this is all I can afford with what's left.
Why is the sausage green?
They're mushy peas.
Oh, it's a chip, it can't be that bad. That bad.
Oh, very good.
Did you get this from the other end of the beach?
Yes, they were the cheapest. They were the ones I could afford.
I don't even want to brave the peas.
They're within our budget.
It does not look like a sausage, sorry.
That's okay, actually. It gets worse the more you chew it.
It does.
Not only is Skegness wonderfully, disappointingly grim, even the fish and chips that they're meant to be able to get right.
How do you mess up fish and chips? You couldn't even afford fish.
No.
Let's really hope the hotel does good breakfast. This is not enough.
You know when I said about the budget? I couldn't book a room. But I have got a sleeping bag. A rather stony silence accompanied the rest of the dinner, and then we headed off to Morgan's hotel, and as he settled in for the night, we hid the 440 in the car park.
See, this isn't that bad. It's quite warm. His seats are actually really quite comfortable. And just think, in the morning, we just sit up and we can drive away.
Yeah, sure.
And we don't have to go in. There's no checking in, no checking out, no getting lost of the room, no getting worried if you've lost the key to your room. We've got a wonderful panoramic view over Skegness. Then all of our stuff is nearby. That's the big thing as well. It's all in there. If we get cold, we have got the 2 buttons down there for warmth for the seat. We can put the heated seat on. That makes things notably better. And then, you know, we've got the security of that. So the car's now safe. That's pretty good as well. And in the morning, if the sun comes up, we can put sun visors down and they'll just keep the sun out of our face. And it's cosy. That's quite nice, isn't it? And of course, we're close to each other, so we can talk all the way through the night and have it like a sleepover. Plus, there's the fact that we've got this nice thing back here where you can put your head down and you can be like, and adjust it. So if you want to sleep a bit forward, you can bring it forward or slightly further back. And of course, full lumbar support with these seats, so you can just adjust it to what you want. Plenty of legroom as well.
Lawrie.
Plus the fact we've got the mirror just there, so if you need to check anything, you can see that, which I think is far superior. And they've got a function on tonight, and we can't hear the function inside this. This is absolutely superb.
Matt elected that he would sleep outside, deciding he stood a better chance of getting a good night's sleep. And eventually, morning broke, and we arranged to meet Morgan back at the seafront to discuss our cars.
So, how did you guys sleep last night?
No, it was all right. It was good.
I didn't.
Oh.
But I suppose at least I survived the night, so it's now the morning.
And it is actually a very nice morning here in Skegness, which brings us to the end of the challenge of what is the better car to take away? Is it better to spend the money and hire a car, or is it better to spend the money and buy yourself a car?
As an independent adjudicator, I can categorically say without a shadow of a doubt that the V90 is by far the better car to take away for a weekend. It's so much more pleasant, it's so much nicer, it's more fuel efficient, it is literally better in every conceivable way. Apart from the fact that it has to go back tomorrow. This is £300 and it's here permanently, which is not really a positive thing in the whole light of the channel, because now we have to deal with this for the rest of time. But this is a much better proposition on the fact that, well, I actually own it and I'm just pathologically opposed to having to spend more money just to hire something. So sadly the 440 wins.
It is the point. Maybe it's not the 440. Maybe the 440 itself wasn't the best car.
No, it wasn't.
But the idea of actually going and buying a car for the same or less money than hiring a car, to then have it that next weekend we can go out and this time we can afford the hotel because we've already got the car. And the weekend after that, we can get a hotel with Matt having his own room. So with that, this is the way forward. And of course, this is now the Volvo staying on the channel. So welcome to the Volvo. And with that, thanks for watching, guys. We really hope you've enjoyed this and we'd love to know your thoughts on which is the best way to do things in the comments below. So thanks for watching, guys. And of course, if you have enjoyed this, how about watching some of the other adventures coming up on the screen now? Ta-ra.